All right, let's dive into some ancient myths today.
Sounds good.
We're going way back to ancient Mesopotamia,
All right.
using Stephanie Dalley's book, Myths from Mesopotamia, as our guide.
Okay.
So we're talking stories even older than the Bible itself, flood stories, quests for immortality.
Really fascinating stuff.
We're going to take a trip to the underworld, so buckle up. This is going to be epic.
These Mesopotamian myths offer a glimpse into one of civilization's earliest birthplaces. It's more than just stories. It's understanding how people thousands of years ago
Yeah.
saw their world, their place in it, and the forces controlling it.
So these stories were woven into the fabric of Mesopotamian life.
Yeah.
I mean, is reading these ancient stories like reading, say, a modern novel?
Not quite. Akkadian literature, the language these myths were written in, it's more like a sprawling Marvel movie franchise.
Oh, okay.
You've got individual episodes that, when pieced together, reveal a complete and often complex narrative.
So it's like a giant jigsaw puzzle of ancient storytelling.
Exactly.
Wow, so we're talking about Mesopotamia.
Right.
This is the land nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, cradle of civilization.
Yes.
What was daily life actually like for the people hearing these myths?
Well, they served many purposes.
Okay.
Explaining the world's origins, justifying social hierarchies, even moral guidance. Imagine them as a blend of history, science, and religion all rolled into one.
Oh, wow, so they really were woven into every, aspect of life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, let's dive into our first myth.
Okay.
The Epic of Atrahasis, which actually features a flood story that might surprise some listeners.
Right.
I know there's a flood in the Bible.
Yes.
But this Mesopotamian version is even older. What are we looking at here in terms of similarities and differences?
Well, both stories feature a great flood sent by the gods, but the reasons differ.
Okay.
In Atrahasis, the flood is a response to overpopulation. The gods felt overwhelmed by humanity's growth. It's a recurring theme even. It even pops up in early Greek myths where Zeus considered using war for population control.
Wow, so the gods were dealing with resource management issues way back then.
You could say that.
But why a flood? I mean, couldn't they have just, limited births or something?
Well, you have to keep in mind this was a world before death was a natural part of life.
Right, right.
In Atrahasis, the gods try plagues, famine first, but the flood becomes the ultimate solution, just to relieve the pressure of human existence.
Okay, so the gods are trying to wipe out humanity, not very friendly.
No.
But didn't someone warn Atrahasis, kind of like Noah in the Bible?
You're thinking of Enki,
Okay.
a trickster god, but also a protector of humanity.
Right.
He guides Atrahasis to build a boat, gather his family, and essentially ride out the apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's this act of saving a remnant of humanity that makes Enki such a crucial figure in Mesopotamian mythology.
So Atrahasis survive, offer sacrifices, eventually gains immortality.
Right.
Is that how the gods reconcile with humans? By making one of them immortal?
It's more about establishing a new world order.
Okay.
Floodwaters recede, and Enlil, the head honcho of the gods, he relents. But to prevent future overpopulation, he introduces death as a natural part of life. It's a profound shift, sudden how life has an endpoint, making each moment precious.
Wow.
Yeah.
This flood myth, I mean, this really sets the stage for understanding how the Mesopotamians saw the relationship
Yes.
between the gods and humans.
Exactly.
It wasn't always harmonious, but it seems like the gods, despite their sometimes drastic measures, they were also involved in shaping human destiny.
Absolutely.
Speaking of destiny, let's move on to a character who grapples with his own fate.
All right.
The legendary Gilgamesh.
Yes.
His story, found in the Epic of Gilgamesh, considered one of the oldest surviving works of literature.
It is.
Influencing countless stories that came after it. The epic introduces Gilgamesh as this larger-than-life figure, 2/3 god, 1/3 human.
Right.
And he's the king of Uruk, a goring wild bull who seems to have it all.
He does.
So what sets him on this epic adventure? I mean, it can't just be about, conquering more land, right?
Well, Gilgamesh has power, wealth, strength, but he's also restless. There's this underlying sense of dissatisfaction,
Okay.
a yearning for something more, and that something more is immortality.
Wow.
But before he embarks on that quest, we have to talk about a pivotal relationship.
Okay.
His friendship with Enkidu.
Enkidu, the wild man created by the gods to challenge Gilgamesh.
Exactly.
I gotta admit, when I first read about him, I thought, okay, rival, classic, hero versus setup.
Yeah.
But their relationship turns out to be much more complex, right?
Absolutely. Their initial encounter is a clash of titans.
Okay.
A wrestling match that literally shakes the city of Uruk.
Wow.
It's a metaphor for the struggle between civilization and nature,
Okay.
between order and chaos. But after this epic brawl, something unexpected happens.
What's that?
They become best friends.
So from rivals to, like, brothers in arms.
That's right.
What does their friendship teach Gilgamesh? I mean, he's used to power, not vulnerability and emotional connection.
Enkidu, being raised in the wild, embodies the untamed aspects of human nature.
Okay.
He shows Gilgamesh the value of companionship, loyalty, and the power of sharing burdens. It's through Enkidu that Gilgamesh begins to explore a side of himself he never knew existed.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so they're best buds, ready to take on the world. What's their first big adventure together?
One of their most famous exploits is their journey to the cedar forest,
Okay.
a sacred and dangerous place guarded by Humbaba, a terrifying monster whose breath is death.
Okay, so they're up against a serious foe.
Oh, yeah.
What's the significance of this particular challenge? It's got to be more than just two guys fighting a monster, right?
The cedar forest represents the unknown,
Okay.
the wild places beyond the boundaries of civilization. Humbaba embodies the dangers lurking in those untamed spaces. Their quest to defeat him is about conquering fear, proving their strength, and essentially expanding the reach of their world.
Wow.
Yeah.
They defeat Humbaba, and I'm guessing their victory makes them even more legendary.
Yes.
But fame, as we often see, has its downsides. What happens in the aftermath of this triumph?
The goddess Ishtar,
Okay.
known for her beauty and volatile nature, she becomes smitten with Gilgamesh.
Uh-oh.
She proposes marriage, but Gilgamesh, aware of Ishtar's reputation for turning her lovers into animals, flat out rejects her.
Wow, that's gutsy.
It is.
Turning down a goddess, especially one as powerful as Ishtar.
Right.
I can only imagine how that goes over.
Let's just say Ishtar doesn't take rejection well.
Oh, no.
Enraged, she unleashes the bull of heaven upon Uruk, causing drought and devastation.
Oh, wow.
It's a blatant act of divine revenge.
Yeah.
A reminder that even the most powerful heroes are subject to the whims of the gods.
Wow, and this is where we'll pick up in part 2 of our Mesopotamian deep dive.
Okay.
We'll explore what happens when you defy a goddess like Ishtar.
Right.
The consequences for Gilgamesh and Enkidu.
Yes.
And the beginning of a quest that will change Gilgamesh forever.
Stay tuned because this is where the Epic of Gilgamesh takes a truly fascinating turn, delving into the very heart of what it means to be human.
I am ready for part 2. So last time we left off with Gilgamesh and Enkidu.
Yeah.
Defeating Humbaba.
Right.
And really ticking off the goddess Ishtar.
Yes.
She unleashes the bull of heaven on Uruk. And things are not looking too good for our heroes.
Right.
So what happens next? Do they manage to take down a celestial bull?
They do, Gilgamesh and Enkidu, to slay the bull of heaven.
Wow.
Solidifying their status as heroes even further, but
Okay.
this victory comes at a steep price.
Oh.
Defying Ishtar set in motion a chain of events that will forever alter Gilgamesh's path.
It's like a cosmic game of cause and effect.
Exactly.
Makes you wonder if the gods were always watching, just waiting for someone to step out of line.
Well, the Mesopotamian gods weren't known for their patience or forgiveness.
Right.
And in this case, their judgment falls upon Enkidu.
Oh, no.
He falls ill and dies a slow, agonizing death.
That's awful. I mean, this death, it's not just about sadness.
Right.
It's about, it forces Gilgamesh to confront something he's never had to before.
Yeah.
His own mortality.
Exactly.
Imagine losing your best friend, the person who helped you grow, and suddenly realizing that you too are vulnerable.
It's a turning point in the epic.
Yeah.
The focus shifts from heroic adventures to a profound exploration of grief, loss,
Okay.
and the search for meaning in the face of death. Gilgamesh is devastated, utterly consumed by the fear of his own demise.
I mean, he looks at Enkidu's lifeless body
Right.
and utters these words, "This is the fate of all mankind."
Heavy stuff.
Wow, it's a moment of stark realization, a shattering of his previously invincible worldview.
It is.
So what does a king, a demigod, do when faced with the inevitability of death?
He embarks on a quest, of course.
Oh, of course, but I'm guessing this isn't about slaying monsters or claiming treasures.
You're right.
What's this quest all about?
Gilgamesh sets out to find Utnapishtim,
Okay.
the survivor of the Great Flood, the only mortal granted immortality by the gods.
Wait, is this the same guy as Atrahasis?
Precisely.
The one we talked about earlier, who built the Ark?
That's him.
Wow, this shows how interconnected these Mesopotamian myths are.
It does.
Different stories, different names, but ultimately they weave together a complex tapestry of beliefs and ideas.
That's right.
So Gilgamesh believes Utnapishtim holds the key to eternal life.
Mm-hmm.
But this journey is different from his previous adventures.
Yes.
What challenges does he face on this quest for immortality?
This isn't just a physical journey. It's
Right.
psychological and spiritual.
Right?
He travels through harsh landscapes, encounters monstrous creatures, and even crosses the waters of death, a perilous sea that tests his will and resolve.
It sounds terrifying, but he's Gilgamesh.
Right.
Surely he just powers through these obstacles.
Not this time.
Oh.
Along the way, he meets Saduri, the A-wife who lives by the sea.
Okay.
She's wise, offering him counsel that challenges his entire mission.
Really?
She tells him, fill your belly with good things, dance and be merry day and night.
So she's essentially saying, embrace life, savor the present moment, because that's all we truly have.
Exactly. It's like a Mesopotamian carpe diem.
I love that.
But Gilgamesh, driven by grief and the fear of death, he isn't ready to listen.
Yeah.
He's determined to reach Utnapishtim.
So what happens when he finally finds him?
Utnapishtim, wise and weary from his own experiences.
Okay.
He tells Gilgamesh the story of the flood, revealing how he was granted immortality.
Okay.
But he makes it clear his case was a unique, divine exception.
So even if you're a legendary king, two-thirds god,
Right.
you can't just will yourself to be immortal.
Seems that way.
I imagine that doesn't sit well with Gilgamesh.
Not really, no. Utnapishtim knows that words aren't enough.
Okay.
So he challenges Gilgamesh to stay awake for 6 days and 7 nights.
Oh, wow.
A seemingly simple task.
Right.
But the point is to demonstrate that even the most basic human needs, like sleep, can't be overcome. We are bound by our mortal limitations.
Yeah.
And of course, Gilgamesh fails the test, falling asleep almost immediately.
Oh, of course.
It's a powerful image.
It is.
Even a hero like Gilgamesh can't escape the need for sleep, a reminder of our shared human vulnerability.
So this failure highlights the contrast
Yes.
between human aspirations and the realities of our existence.
Exactly.
We may yearn for immortality, but ultimately we are part of a larger cycle of life and death.
That's right.
So Gilgamesh fails. He doesn't get immortality.
Right.
Does Utnapishtim just send him packing? Or does he offer some consolation prize?
Utnapishtim, taking pity on Gilgamesh,
Okay.
reveals a secret, a plant that can restore youth.
Interesting.
Gilgamesh, filled with renewed hope,
Yeah.
dives to the bottom of the sea and retrieves the plant. Imagine that, diving for a plant that holds the promise of rejuvenation.
Yeah, this plant represents hope, a chance for Gilgamesh to find solace and meaning despite not achieving immortality.
It does.
It's like the gods are offering him a second chance,
Right.
a different path to leaving a lasting legacy.
Exactly.
So Gilgamesh has this amazing plant, but this is a miss, right? Something's got to go wrong.
Of course.
What happens?
While Gilgamesh is bailing, a serpent steals the plant and slithers away, shedding its skin in the process.
A serpent, often associated with rebirth and renewal. It's like the story is saying you can't cheat the natural order of things, Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
What about Gilgamesh? What happens to him after this crushing disappointment?
Defeated, he returns to Uruk empty-handed. He failed to achieve immortality, but his journey has transformed him.
Okay.
He's learned about the power of friendship, the inevitability of death, and the importance of finding meaning in the present moment.
So he returns home a changed man.
He does.
Does he fall into despair, or does he find some kind of peace?
The epic ends with Gilgamesh contemplating the walls of Uruk, a testament to his reign and the achievements of his city.
Okay.
He realizes that true immortality lies not in endless life, but in the legacy we leave behind.
So it's about the impact we have on the world, the stories people tell about us.
Yes.
It's a powerful message, one that resonates even today.
It does.
We may not be kings or demigods.
Right.
But we all leave behind a legacy, a story that continues after we're gone.
Exactly. Gilgamesh's story, though thousands of years old, speaks to the human desire to leave a mark on the world, to find meaning and purpose in our limited time.
But we're not done with Mesopotamian mythology just yet.
No, we're not.
There are still so many fascinating stories to explore. Stories of goddesses descending into the underworld.
Right.
Gods battling monstrous creatures.
Yes.
Humans striving for knowledge and wisdom.
It's all there.
Stay with us as we delve into some of these lesser-known but equally fascinating tales. Okay, Mesopotamian mythology has much more to reveal about this ancient civilization's worldview and what it means to be human. We've explored floods and wrestled with the idea of immortality. So what's next?
Let's descend into the shadowy realm of the underworld with the descent of Ishtar.
Ooh, sounds intense.
This isn't just a spooky ghost story.
Okay.
It's about Ishtar, a goddess associated with love, war, and fertility, venturing into the underworld, ruled by her sister Ereshkigal.
Okay, Ishtar's a powerhouse, so why would she risk going into the underworld? Was it a power grab?
The myth offers a few interpretations.
Okay.
Some scholars suggest she wants to extend her power over the realm of the dead. Others believe she's driven by grief over her lover Tammuz.
Right.
But what's fascinating is that her journey also mirrors the human experience of loss and confronting our own mortality.
Okay, so Ishtar is a powerful goddess.
Right.
But the underworld has its own rules.
Yeah.
It's not like she just scrolls in.
No.
What's the entry process like?
Picture this, 7 gates.
Okay.
Each guarded by a fearsome gatekeeper.
Right.
At each gate, Ishtar is stripped of her power and regalia.
Okay.
Her crown, her jewels, her clothing, all removed until she stands naked and vulnerable before the queen of the underworld.
Why strip her naked? That seems a little harsh.
It's about stripping away her worldly status and identity
Okay.
as she descends deeper into the realm of death. It's a powerful visual representation of what death does.
Okay.
It reduces us all to our most basic, vulnerable selves. No matter how powerful or wealthy you are in life, death is the great equalizer.
That's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
So Ishtar's stripped of her power, she's vulnerable, and she finally reaches Ereshkigal?
Right.
What happens when these two powerful sisters come face to face?
The tension is palpable.
I bet.
Ereshkigal, who embodies death and decay, she resents Ishtar's beauty and vitality.
Okay.
She imprisons Ishtar.
Oh, wow.
And this disruption of the natural order has consequences for the entire world.
Wait, what happens when Ishtar is gone?
The myth paints a bleak picture.
Okay.
Plants wither, animals stop reproducing, and the cycle of life grinds to a halt.
Wow.
Without Ishtar, the goddess of fertility, the world becomes barren.
It's amazing how these myths connect the fate of the gods to the very workings of nature.
It is.
So the world needs Ishtar back.
Right.
How does she escape the underworld?
Enki, ever the resourceful god, steps in.
Okay.
He sends a messenger who tricks Ereshkigal into releasing Ishtar.
Clever, but freedom comes at a price, right?
Always.
Who becomes the unlucky substitute?
Upon returning to the world above,
Yeah.
Ishtar encounters her lover, Tammuz.
Right.
He seems unconcerned by her absence.
Really?
Enraging the goddess, in a fit of fury, she designates him as her replacement, condemning him to spend half the year in the underworld.
So Tammuz gets sent to the underworld because he wasn't sad enough.
That's one way to look at it.
That's a harsh lesson about keeping your goddess happy.
It is.
But his death and return each year become a powerful symbol for the cycle of life, death, and rebirth in nature.
It does. It connects to those agricultural cycles that were so important to the Mesopotamians.
Yeah.
The planting, the harvesting, the death and rebirth of crops.
Wow, this myth has layers. Power struggles, the cycle of life, even a little relationship drama.
Yeah.
What can we learn from Ishtar's journey into the underworld?
It reminds us that even gods and goddesses are subject to the laws of the underworld.
Right.
It's a story that explores themes of loss, power, and the interconnectedness of life and death. But let's move on to another power struggle.
Okay.
This time between a god and the queen of the underworld herself.
Oh, bring on the drama. Who are we talking about now?
The myth of Nergal and Ereshkigal.
Okay.
It takes us back to the underworld.
All right.
Nergal, a god of plague, war, and fire, finds himself on a collision course with Ereshkigal.
So what brings Nergal, this god of all things destructive,
Right.
into Ereshkigal's realm? Was he looking for a fight?
It starts with a feast hosted by the gods.
Okay.
Ereshkigal can't attend, being, queen of the underworld.
Yeah, busy schedule.
So she sends her messenger Namtar to represent her.
Okay.
But the gods, caught up in their revelry, they disrespect Namtar.
Oh, no.
Except for Nergal, who remains seated.
Wait, remaining seated is a sign of respect.
In this context, yes.
Oh, okay.
It signifies Nergal acknowledging Namtar's authority as Ereshkigal's representative.
Okay.
But Ereshkigal, hearing about the perceived insult, demands that Nergal be sent to the underworld.
Oh, boy.
To answer for his actions, it's a test.
A test of what?
Will he succumb to her power, or will he challenge her authority?
So Nergal's good manners land him in hot water.
You could say that.
How does he handle this summons to the underworld? Does he go quietly?
Nergal is no pushover.
Right.
He receives warnings from Enki about the dangers of the underworld.
Okay.
And prepares carefully, armed and ready. He enters Ereshkigal's domain, determined to assert his own power.
Okay, this sounds like it's about to get epic.
It does.
What happens when he finally confronts Ereshkigal?
It's a clash of titans. Nergal storms into the underworld, overpowers the gatekeepers, and even threatens to kill Ereshkigal.
Wow, he's not holding back. So does he actually kill her?
Just when you think it's all-out war,
Yeah.
the myth takes an unexpected turn.
Ooh, I love a good twist.
Ereshkigal, recognizing Nergal's strength and defiance,
Okay.
offers him a proposition.
Okay, what's that?
Marriage and shared rulership of the underworld.
Wow. Talk about a power couple.
Right.
They go from mortal enemies to husband and wife ruling the underworld together.
Exactly. Their union symbolizes a balance of power between the forces of destruction and the realm of the dead.
It suggests that even in the darkest of places, alliances can be formed. and power can be shared.
Absolutely.
It's like the Mesopotamian gods are constantly negotiating power, trying to find some sort of equilibrium,
Right.
even if it comes through conflict and compromise.
That's right.
Okay, ready for our final Mesopotamian myth?
Let's do it.
What else have you got for us?
Let's explore the tale of Adapa and the South Wind.
Okay.
A story that combines ambition, missed opportunities, and a glimpse into the divine realm.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
It all begins with Adapa, a wise man favored by Enki,
Okay.
fishing in his boat when suddenly the south wind capsizes him.
Okay, I get being annoyed when the wind messes up your hair, but capsizing your boat. What does Adapa do?
In a fit of anger, Adapa breaks the south wind's wings.
Injuring a force of nature, that's a serious offense.
Especially in the world of Mesopotamian mythology.
That sounds like a recipe for trouble.
Yes.
So who comes knocking on Adapa's door after he assaults the wind?
Anu, the sky god, summons Adapa to heaven to answer for his actions.
Oh, wow. Talk about a bad day.
Right.
So what does Adapa do? Does he try to run and hide?
Enki, ever the protector of humanity, steps in to help.
Okay.
He warns Adapa not to eat or drink anything offered to him in heaven.
Really?
Claiming it's the food and water of death.
Wait, the food of the gods is deadly to mortals.
It highlights the fundamental difference between the divine and human realms.
Okay.
What sustains the gods can be harmful to mortals. It's like trying to plug your phone into a power outlet that's too strong. It fries the circuits.
Okay, that makes it so Adapa goes to heaven,
Right.
follows Enki's instructions, and meets Anu.
Yes.
What happens next?
Anu, surprisingly, is impressed by Adapa.
Okay.
He offers him food and water, the food and water of immortality. But Adapa, remembering Enki's warning, politely refuses.
Oh no, he unknowingly refuses the gift of eternal life. Didn't anyone think to, mention that part?
It's a tragic irony.
It is.
Adapa, trying to avoid danger,
Mm-hmm.
ends up missing out on the greatest gift imaginable.
Wow.
His story is often interpreted as a cautionary tale about blind obedience and the importance of using your own judgment.
I guess sometimes even good advice can backfire.
It can.
So what happens to Adapa after he turns down immortality?
Anu, realizing the misunderstanding, sends Adapa back to Earth. He remains mortal, but he's granted wisdom and knowledge.
Oh, interesting.
He returns to his city, becoming a revered figure, a source of guidance for his people.
So even though he missed out on eternal life, he becomes a source of wisdom, a different kind of immortality?
Exactly.
It makes you think about the different ways we leave our mark on the world.
It does.
Wow, these Mesopotamian myths have been a wild ride.
They have.
We've journeyed through the underworld, witnessed epic power struggles, even contemplated the meaning of life and death.
It's amazing how these ancient stories still have the power to make us think and feel.
It is.
What's truly fascinating is how they offer us a window into an ancient civilization's worldview.
Right.
Their fears, their hopes, their attempts to understand the forces controlling their lives.
Yeah.
These myths, though thousands of years old, continue to resonate with us because they tap into those universal human experiences that transcend time and culture.
So to everyone listening, if you're looking for stories that challenge you, transport you, and make you think, dive into the world of Mesopotamian mythology.
You won't regret it.
You might be surprised by what you discover. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring. Sec 62.